Coming up on this episode of Game, it's time to re-enter the shadowy world of the Man in the Machine as Fraggy goes undercover in Deus Ex. We check out this week's stash of fantastic freebies and must-play demos. And we go inside with one of the minds behind one of 2011's biggest console releases. Gear up as we trip the fantastic. This is Game. Hello all you charming game fans, I hope you're ready to rock because we're about to roll out a monster episode of your favourite video game ballet, Game. Thanks for joining me, Kelly Latimer, your guide to the greatest in this digital age. As I said, it's going to be a monster episode once again, so let's get stuck in, shall we? First up is a highly anticipated game getting quite a bit of attention in the gaming scene. First announced in 2005, the rebirth of Deus Ex had everybody talking. 6 years on, we can finally hand it over to our trusty game guru, Frags, to bring you the lowdown of this modern role-playing classic. With a plot steeped in conspiracy, let's see what the Fraggot has to say about Deus Ex Human Revolution as it enters the review.
This ends now. You do know more than you've told me.
Some people will be left behind. It's evolution.
You've got to help me.
No one will be left to tell the world what happened.
Well, hello my fellow augmentation aficionados and welcome to Fraggy's Gaming Den. Now in today's gaming review, we're going to be spending some time taking apart the latest sequel to one of my personal favorite video games growing up, Deus Ex Human Revolution. Now if you're wondering what all the fuss is about, the original Deus Ex was a hallmark in game design when it was released back in the year 2000. Because here was an action game which focused not so much on just blasting your way through a level, combining stealth, exploration, and a fantastic story to make for one of the most excellent video games ever made. Fast forward a little and Human Revolution is looking to bring back all the elements that gamers loved from the original, only this time with a brand new high fidelity coat of paint. Set 25 years before the events of the first game, you play Adam Jensen, an ex-cop turned security specialist for one of the world's foremost biomechanical companies. But after an attack on the company headquarters leaves our hero in pieces pretty much, the company decides to show its gratitude by using all their biomechanical might to save your life, turning you into a Neo-looking RoboCop dude on a mission to find out the truth behind the attacks which took everything away from you. Now the biggest strength and one of the things they really got right from the original Deus Ex was just the sense of freedom in how you choose to play this game. In addition to the many tools of the trade which you pick up along the way, and trust me there are quite a few, the game features a full upgrade tree of augmentations, from sneaky skills like stealth camouflage, to increased hacking abilities which let you take control of enemy robots. And depending on your playstyle, it's really up to you which abilities to upgrade, because each new ability can drastically change the way the game is played. Now a big reason why this system of choice actually works is because unlike most video games in which there's a definite set path, Human Revolution tries to be as open as possible when it comes to how you go about tackling an objective. Almost all the missions have multiple paths for completion. Will you choose to cloak and run? Or perhaps engage in a bit of IT mischief? Or maybe just get those cyber arms you've always wanted so you can pick up turrets and walk around. Like I said, it's really all up to you. You know, as someone who's played the original to death, I was actually looking forward to nitpicking Human Revolution and saying, you know, how it's lacking this or it's missing that. But at the end of the day, my list of complaints for this game are actually pretty small. One of the things I found odd was that enemies can, on occasion, act rather stupid, looking into blank space or just not reacting the way you'd expect. Also, if you're an audio sort of guy, do note that some of the latest sections feature some pretty terrible voice acting.
Are you really that gullible? Tom doesn't run a buy now, pay later operation. It's more like a buy now, pay forever.
Also, small note, but guys, could you next time not put the kill button so close to the talk button? Thanks.
Always liked your style, Jensen.
In the end though, on the whole, I'm actually pleasantly surprised at how good Human Revolution turned out because, to be honest, when I first heard about this game, I was actually thinking it was going to be some sort of reskinned version of Metal Gear Solid, but boy, was I wrong, and I'm glad. It may bear a striking resemblance to other games in the stealth genre, but at its core, Human Revolution is straight up classic Deus Ex. A game brave enough to let you figure out how you want to play, and giving you the tools and the world to do it in. With a rich, detailed environment to explore as well as more gameplay options than most gamers will know what to do with. If you're looking for a perfect hybrid of role-playing and first-person gameplay, Human Revolution is definitely one of the best examples released this year.
Tarfrags looks amazing. Definitely worth the wait, methinks. But one thing that can't wait, though, are the announcements from the people that pay our bills. So it's time to pay our dues as we allow them to brainwash you for a couple of minutes. But trust me, you'll want to stick around because in a bit, we bring you the best from the internet's free-to-play gems, good to go now. And you've been asking us non-stop about Pro Evo Soccer, and you know we don't disappoint. Welcome back, my lovelies. Lots to come on this feature-packed edition of the show, including our picks of the best of the internet in just a moment. But first, we heard your cries, we heard your pleas, and so we provide. It's time for our Try Before You Buy segment, and no wimping out on pretty titles this week. Brace yourself, boys. It's time to enter the Demo Derby.
Speed Demons unite, because in this rip-roaring edition of the Derby, get ready to floor it with the demo of Driver San Francisco. Set a few months after the nail-biting Istanbul shootout at the end of Driver 3, this demo features a sampling of 3 different missions, introducing you to a few of the game's new modes, including the all-new Shift ability. Now, what this does is basically enable Tanner to swap himself from car to car in a sort of Google Earth-inspired game of moving musical chairs. The new gameplay additions are a blast and work surprisingly well, even if they do feel like a bit of a departure for a series which has so far been grounded in reality. With a selection of 4 different cars, as well as a few clever gameplay additions to the driving game genre, this demo looks to be a great diversion. And you can get your hands on it right now on both Xbox Live and the PlayStation Network. Also up this week, from wreckage to destruction, as we explore what could possibly be the most destructible environment in a video game with Body Count. A beefy demo which showcases the game's new engine, allowing you to plow through basically anything in your path. This demo showcases one of the earlier missions in the game as you infiltrate an African shantytown in search of a gun-toting warlord. With a heavy focus on fun, fast-paced action, this free demo gives a taste of the visceral gunplay you can expect from Body Count when the full game hits later this month. And finally, in our roundup of the absolute must-play demos of the week, time for some fancy footwork with the demo of Pro Evolution Soccer 2012. Looking to reclaim the crown from the current kings of the football sim, FIFA, the demo for PES 2012 looks to be a definite step in the right direction, with great looks and, more importantly, great gameplay to match. With smoother animation and better artificial intelligence than the series has ever seen, as well as tweaks to the overall pace of the gameplay. Pro Evo fans disappointed at the continued recycling of the series in recent years may just have a reason to get back into the fray. The demo lets you play a 10-minute exhibition match with 6 teams and also features a challenge training session where fans can get familiar with the game's newer control systems. But most importantly, it's out now, so get to your PC and get downloading at the address below.
A fantastic collection of free trials, top titles vying for your all-important gaming dollar. And speaking of gaming moolah, what about if you're all skint? Well, my friends, then this next segment belongs to you as much as it belongs to me. You know what they say, there are only 2 things that are free in this world: love and flash games. So without further ado, we present Online.
In this week's edition of Online, an assorted plate of the best in digital hors d'oeuvre, from wilderness exploring to exploding heads. And to begin, it's off to Africa with an interesting physics-based puzzler starring a friendly zebra and a banging set of wheels. In Safari Time, the aim is to help our four-wheeling hero through the grassy savannah by solving various puzzles to clear his path. Now, along the way, you'll be faced with daunting encounters, from wild bee swarms to deadly traps, and even a few poachers who've grown fond of your rather attractive coat. But don't fret, take a step back, because sometimes a bit of logic is all it takes. With 24 levels of stripy physics fun to go through, this flashy brain bender gets 2 hooves up. Check it out at the address below. Next, we spend some time with the latest title in the Click Play catalogue of Flash games, a series with a simple goal: just click the play button. Only trouble is, sometimes that little blighter is a lot more elusive than we give it credit for. A discovery puzzler which combines quick thinking along with creativity. A big chunk of the reason Click Play Rainbow works so well is because it often toys with well-worn gaming conventions, presenting you with several tricky ways to go about solving each problem. Now, unlike most games, your score in Rainbow is counted by the number of clicks you take to get through the game. The fewer, the better. With a great variety in its puzzles, accompanied by a soundtrack which had us bopping along to the beat, this pot of gold can be found by visiting the link below. And finally, to cap off our segment of the best free games of the week, street thugs and would-be mafiosos, listen up, because the gang warfare simulator Crimecraft is back with an all-new expansion. A fast-paced shooter which combines role-playing along with a persistent, massively multiplayer world, Crimecraft Bleed Out is the game's first official expansion and will feature 20 battle maps along with hundreds of new weapons and skills to master. The only downside to this game are servers which are a little overpopulated at the moment, keeping you waiting for a long time before you actually get to play. Other than that though, at a cost of nothing, Bleed Out is one hemorrhage that might be worth taking a look at.
You, an awesome collection of free-to-play gems this week and a whole lot more gaming goodness on the way. Now, if you missed the links just now, you can find them on the addresses below. And don't forget them now, because that's where you'll also find a channel to the Divine. I mean, the game team. It's so easy to get us confused. Right now, it's time for another breather, but don't worry, we won't be long, and you'll want to stay tuned, because when we return, we step inside with one of the minds behind the Gears series, and we go all out, pew pew pew, in the preview. Don't go anywhere. to Game. It's the last segment, unfortunately, so if you've just tuned in, well, too bad, Slowpoke. But remember, you can always catch the best bits online, and I'll tell you where in just a while. But first, a little trip down memory lane. Now, when I was a little bit younger, just a little bit, I remember spending hours in LAN shops, getting a little stress relief, fragging noobs at a game of Counter-Strike. Pretty much the first FPS game I laid my hands on. Counter-Strike, like me, is now all grown up. Let's see what the future of military action has in store. This is the preview.
Hate your first-person shooters? Well, it sucks to be you. Because on this Fire in the Hole edition of the preview, it's an all FPS extravaganza as we begin with hot news that the world's most popular online shooter is about to get a brand new makeover. Launched all the way back in the year 1999, Counter-Strike has transformed into somewhat of a religion, with over 300,000 devotees logging in for a game each and every day. And looking to expand upon the team-based action gameplay that it pioneered over 12 years ago, Counter-Strike Global Offensive is set to feature your usual assortment of new maps, characters, and weapons. But most importantly, will also support cross-platform play, allowing PS3 users to compete directly with gamers on the PC. Now, to make things fair, PS3 users will have the option to plug in either the PlayStation Move or the good old keyboard and mouse. Nice. With a new skill-based matchmaking system geared towards helping the newbies grow into fully fledged CS pros, if you've been looking for a reason to re-explore the underpasses of D-Dust, CSGO looks to be a pretty good one. From underpasses now to an underground of a slightly different breed, as we get our feet wet with the follow-up to one of our darker favorites from last year. A combination of first-person and survival horror, this is Metro Last Light. Back in the shoes of the ever-stoic hero, Artyom from the first game, Last Light picks up after the bad ending in Metro 2033, as our hero ties up with a supernatural race known as the Dark Ones. One of the earliest games to make extensive use of the advanced lighting and texturing features found in DirectX 11, the Metro series has been described by the developers as a love letter to PC gamers, and from the looks of this trailer, it's pretty easy to see why. So, if you're up for yet another round of exploring the murky sewers of a post-apocalyptic Moscow, get your radiation shots and prepare for when Metro Last Light sets in the third quarter of next year. And finally, to wrap up our FPS-tastic edition of the preview, time to chuck reality out the window as we check in with a game that's looking to revive the crazy fast-paced action from early shooters like Doom. A throwback to the over-the-top machismo of games gone past, Serious Sam BFE is the third game in the series from the Croatian developers, and because it's so in vogue now, will be a prequel to the original game. Set in a 22nd century Egypt filled with a truckload of weapons and plenty of enemies to use them on. Remember, it's all fun and games till somebody loses an eye. Definitely one to mark your calendars for. Get your slice of Serious in October of this year.
Ew, some totally gross old school action from the guys that know how to make it. Serious Sam is definitely a keeper. Okay, now, over the weekend, the good guys from Game got a chance to spend some time with a team from Gears to find out a little more about the final chapter in the saga, the swan song to a story which began back in '06. Let's go inside Gears of War 3.
With the success of their two previous titles, Epic sure have got a lot of fans to please when Gears of War 3 gets released later this month. The final installment in a series which both reinvented and refined third-person combat on consoles, Part 3 promises to tantalize your thrill-seeking taste buds with bigger and badder enemies, as well as a vast array of interesting new weaponry. Set 18 months after the fall of the city of Jacinto, with humanity desperately struggling to survive, I caught up with the game's lead-level designer to find out a little bit more about the swan song in this epic trilogy.
At this point in the story, the Locust Horde has attacked the humans and sent them on the brink of destruction, and at the end of Gears 2 you manage to fight back and destroy their homeworld, and you kind of start to realize the reason that they were attacking is because they've been pushed up from below by an even stronger enemy that we're calling the Lambent, which is this infection that's like eating and destroying the planet from the inside out. So the land is no longer safe, and this band of friends has taken to the seas, and they're living on an abandoned aircraft carrier. And instead of area for the planes to come in and land or the helicopters to land, they've built up crops. And so they're just surviving on this ship. But as the game opens, this Lambent force, which was attacking the Locusts, has now turned and is also attacking the Gears on the ship. And so it's this big story of survival and how they deal with all these different threats.
Definitely sounds like a lot going down. But aside from the plot, which looks to tie up all the loose ends in the story so far, what changes to the gameplay can fans expect from Part 3? And if you happen to be a little late to the party, is Gears 3 a good one to get started on?
One of our biggest focuses with Gears 3 was accessibility. So if you've never played a Gears game before, this is a great place to start. And that's kind of reflected in everything we've done. At the most basic level, like you start out with a kind of summary or retrospective of what's happened before, and so you kind of have some context going in. But I mean, the menu systems are easier to use. The controls have been completely refined. The weapon systems are very specialized so that if you like one, you can keep playing with it and use it in the way you want to play. And then lastly, one of the most important things is that whether you're playing the single-player campaign or you're playing online multiplayer, you can play cooperatively with your friends. So you always have someone to fall back on and try new strategies and try new things with.
Now, among the many new additions, Gears of War 3 will also mark the first time the game will feature a playable female character. Hell hath no fury, like a woman with a chainsaw?
Females have always been a very, very significant part of the story. And Anya, as kind of our poster child in this title, she was previously your control operator. She was the voice in your ear that was relaying orders from the military commands. But in Gears 3, there is no more military, there is no more orders.
Gun-wielding, butt-kicking femme fatales aside, the runaway success of the franchise over the last 6 years is in a large part due to the countless hours spent listening to fans. Tabulating data from almost 1.3 million players who joined in the beta, Gears 3 looks to be the most polished addition to the series yet.
The Gears franchise represents about a decade's worth of work from Epic Games. And so we're very excited to kind of bring this final end to this trilogy, this long story we've been telling. And every game we do, we always try and make something bigger and better than the last one. And Gears 3 is by far the biggest game we've done. Beast mode, where you can actually play as the Locusts now and come in and attack the puny humans. Horde mode, of course, that we're most popular, most known for is our cooperative Horde mode. And we've taken that aspects of that and actually worked it back into the single player, so you can now play through the entirety of the campaign in 4-player co-op with your friends on Xbox Live. Gears of War 3 is going to be the biggest, most incredible game that Epic has ever produced, and we're really looking forward to seeing everyone online playing together September 20th of this year.
Well, guys, that that just about wraps it up for this episode. If you haven't fully satisfied your game bug, you can always relive some of the best bits from game by heading on to espnstar.com/game. You can keep chatting with us or other like-minded gamers on our Facebook page at facebook.com/ESSGame. And for up-to-the-minute info when we get it, follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/ESSGame. And with that, it's a wrap. So we'll see you next week or online. Bye-bye now.